With Cars on the Road a little over a week away, we've been getting inundated with brand new reveals from additional trailers and TV spots, and in this case, today, we're going to be breaking down a brand new article from the D23 magazine showcasing what every single episode of Cars on the Road will be about. It also reveals new details such as Mater's sister's name, and it also hints at a couple returning characters and cameos we'll see throughout this series. So a lot of exciting stuff to go through here, and I want to start by thanking Dan, the Pixar fan, for sending me images of the pages in this magazine. So he's a member of D23, so he receives this D23 exclusive magazine every few months, and so big thanks to him for sending it to me. We got it in great quality, and I was just so excited when he sent this to me one morning. I'm like, wow, that's new. That's awesome. And so we're going to dive right in here, and I'm going to share with you what stood out to me. Not necessarily going to read every single word. I'm just going to kind of talk about what's important, what they reveal, and then ultimately speculate upon what they give us here, because like I said, the show's only a little over a week away, and I'm just absolutely astonished it's come so quickly. We've been talking about this Disney Plus series for years, and it's finally coming to fruition. It really came upon us quickly because they just dropped the trailer not even a month ago, right? All right, so on these first two pages here, there's not much, but some nice graphics. We see Mater and McQueen. Now, this is actually the very first animated image that they showed us way back in like February, I think it was, of 2022. I did a whole video on that, so I'll leave the link in the description below and card suggestion pop-up. So now we know what they're looking at. That's Ivy over there on their right, one of the new characters in the show, and one of the characters that I think will be in multiple episodes. Like, there will be a lot of new characters, but I think Ivy is one of the only ones that will be in multiple episodes. So it just says a handy guide to Cars on the Road. Of course, it talks about Larry the Cable Guy and Owen Wilson returning. I really like this heartfelt story here from Larry the Cable Guy and how his family was tightened. It was, I don't know, they became closer, I guess, is what he's trying to say here, because of the pandemic in 2020 and how they went on a road trip themselves. And so it kind of parallels, I guess, what Mater and McQueen are doing in Cars on the Road. He also refers to Mater's Tall Tales and Tales from Radiator Springs. I love that he remembers doing those. That's really cool. It really means he's passionate about it. But he affirms that these will be better than those. They also talk about the runtime here, which will be a little more than Dumbo's 64 minutes. So that tells me that the episodes will be under 10 minutes each. So I don't know, they will eventually add up to more than that, but I don't think by much, right? So 9 episodes, 10 minutes each, maybe a little less than that. You're looking at around 80 minutes or so roughly, which I'm a little disappointed about. I wish they were going to be longer episodes. And like I said before, I wish they all were released periodically every week instead of being dropped all on September 8th. But I guess if they're going to be that short, you kind of have to drop them all at once. But to me, if it were me making the calls, I would have dropped 2 every week. So it would have almost been like a full regular TV episode. It would have been like 18, 20 minutes or so of content you get each week for, what would that be, like 4 to 5 weeks? I guess they'd have to do 3 one week or something like that, which would be awesome. Drop 3 the first week and then 2 every week after that. That's what I would have done if I was in charge, but I guess that's why I'm not in charge. You know, I'm just some guy that talks about this stuff. And so, yeah, let's take a look at the meat of this article. And of course, they kind of map out all of the destinations that Mater and McQueen will be visiting. And there are there's Radiator Springs. We're not going to count that. You have the Salt Flats, Dinosaur Park, Badlands, Haunted Hotel, Musical Truck Stop, Roadside Circus, Spooky Campgrounds, B-Movie Set, and the East Coast Wedding. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bam, there you go. Which means that Radiator Springs will have to be crammed into the first episode, I guess. Hopefully it's a little longer so that they're not rushing. I really hate for things to feel rushed here because it does seem like for that first episode it could be that way. And also, we know that there should be a look at the new Rusty's Dynaco Racing Center somewhere in the show based on merchandise reveals, but honestly I'm getting a little concerned that they cut that out because I don't know where that fits in, unless maybe it comes later as they move east, because we know that the Rusty's Racing Center is more east of Radiator Springs by quite a bit. So I guess that would make sense. So maybe the Roadside Circus episode, for example, is a little longer and they kind of visit two destinations or something like that. But I guess I wouldn't get my hopes up now for the Rusty's Dinoco Racing Center. But yeah, it just talks about Radiator Springs here, which they now confirm to be in Arizona. I love that because it's always been a little nebulous over the last 16 years. They say how some of those Radiator Springs Townies actors are back, like Bonnie Hunt, Cheech Martin, etc. They also say that Mater is a little hesitant to be going to his sister's wedding, which is quite odd considering the fact that it's his sister, right? So there must be something else here at play, and it does mention later that we will find out why he was hesitant to go. Maybe it's because, at least how they indicate here in the last paragraph, that he's a little envious of his sister. Maybe his sister is a little bit more, I don't want to say this, but like attractive, because they say that she's not who you expect. So to me, that says his sister is not a tow truck, right? Because I would totally expect, same family, right? That they'd all be tow trucks. If you're, I don't know, I'm not going to get into the anatomy of reproduction and all that stuff in the Cars universe, but that's what it screams to me. Maybe there's something else. People have theorized that his sister's groom is Bubba, which is pretty wild. I would absolutely adore that. I mean, I'd love to see Bubba, who of course is in the video games and in the Storyteller's book, but I really doubt that. Like, that would be some major fan servicing. But anyways, I'm getting a little off track here. You have the Salt Flats, and they do talk a lot about this. We speculated how it would be based on the Bonneville Salt Flats of northwestern Utah, so I'm glad I got that right. They meet Noriyuki, who we know is going to be the mechanic. They're already releasing merchandise of him. And it does say at the bottom here that another surprise character will appear that fans should be pleased to see. And then some weird stuff will happen out there in a Twilight Zone kind of way. We know that's referring to the Speed Demon. And if you guys want to learn more about that, check out my book review, I guess, in the description below, Card Session Pop-Up, where I go through the book that they released a month or so ago. But yeah, who this character will be, not sure. As I talked about in my cameo video the other day, there is a character that looks just like Van in the background of this postcard. While I doubt it is Van, it would make much more sense for the cameo to be like Jackson Storm, Cruz Ramirez even. I don't think that, I don't know, Van does look like he's right there, but I just don't think it is him. Now the sequence of events here is a little off. Like, I can't tell where they're really going next, but we're just going to go up to the dinosaur park. And so Mater likes this one. Not much to say here. They come to life, but we know that, again, if you saw the book, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but we know how they come to life from the book. Then you have the Badlands, which they only give a brief excerpt for here, which is weird because it seems like a pretty big deal with all those road rumblers. They mentioned the Thunder Cone, which we do see in the trailer. And then the duo may need another hero. So this is another cameo or returning character that they're referring to. This one very well could be Cruz, just because she is that hero type role and she fits the bill for it. I don't know who else would really fit the bill for this. I don't think it's going to be Jackson Storm or anybody, but who knows what it could be. I'm looking forward to seeing who it is. Next up is the Haunted Hotel, and just like I speculated about, they are kind of basing this and paralleling it to the attractions in the Disney parks, so that's cool. And we see a little image there of McQueen running from some ghosts. You have the musical truck stop, and so this is when McQueen and Mater split up. McQueen goes into some sort of store, an E-Mart, while Mater starts singing and dancing with all these trucks that he idolizes. I don't know, this episode seems a little weird to me. I feel like they really should have played into like the chemistry between McQueen and Mater. So splitting them up for this episode might drag and might, I don't know. Right now, if you were to ask me what's your least favorite or what's the episode you're least looking forward to, it would be this one. All right, next up is the Roadside Circus, which we know that they're kind of building a lot upon, like a lot of the merchandise is about the circus. And so they introduce Iris here, which we always thought to actually be Ivy, right? That's how they always described her in the merchandise and other listings that we've seen, right? And so, but they seem pretty confident though here that it's Iris. I think they talk about Iris here being played by Quinta Brunson. So I don't know. I hope this article is right. I don't want there to be some name discrepancy. Maybe Ivy is just like a nickname for when she's covered in that moss and ivy from the forest. And I don't know how this all fits in because, see, I don't think these are in order because we know from the trailer that they meet Ivy before the circus, and yet we know that they meet her like kind of with the campground stuff, which on this article here comes after. I don't know. So I wouldn't take much stock in the sequence of the way they list these episodes here. But yeah, no, Iris performs at the circus. We already knew that. Then the spooky campgrounds inspired by the X-Files. So this is, of course, the Bigfoot episode, as they refer to as a mythological beast. Very cool. Not much more to say there. Now, this last one here, or these last two, are the ones we know the least about. There's not much footage out there, and there are not really any merchandise leaks for either of these two. The first being the B movie set. And so you can see that they introduce a new character here, Bella Cadavra. We have not seen her in the trailer, but McQueen seems to be pretty obsessed with this director. Ooh, perhaps a little rift in McQueen and Sally's relationship. Nah, I'm just kidding. But we do see a little bit of movie type set stuff in the trailer, but both of the scenes are highly, highly different. You have one looking like presidential and the other one being like a zombie city, like a plague infested city. So super weird there, but looking forward to that episode for sure. And then it all concludes with the East Coast wedding. And I am a little surprised they're giving this episode this scene a full episode, because it's more of the destination. It's just kind of like you get there, and I don't know what they could really do with the wedding. You know, it's just McQueen and Mater, but I'm sure they'll make it interesting. So this would probably be my second least favorite episode at the moment, but they do kind of put a little spice in here by saying, you don't think she's not who you'd expect. Mato is the name, by the way, if you haven't already read that. Mato is the name of Mater's sister. A lot of people are not a fan of this name, but all my siblings that were named by my stepdad, now dad, they all start with M, right? All of their names start with M because they wanted to kind of do them in a very uniform manner. I thought that was cool, and a lot of families actually do that. Like, I know parents who, I don't know, they happen to have the same initials as each other, and so they name their kid with the same initial. And so it makes sense, although a lot of people just don't like how similar it is to Mater, but they're brother and sister. What do you expect, right? And so they talk about how Potesta here, one of the people involved with the show, this was personal to him because he has 7 other siblings. That's absolutely insane. I guess I have 6, but I mean, that's pretty insane. Now, what this gives off to me, the vibe I get here, is that there's like a sibling rivalry, and Mater just feels inferior to his sister Mato. Like, maybe she's getting married to like a beautiful car. Maybe she's not a tow truck. Maybe she is a tow truck, but she's just not rusty, right? And so I think there will be a little tension there, and maybe that's just Mater's embarrassed to go, see his sister. He doesn't feel good. Like, he feels good when he's in Radiator Springs, but when he sees his sister, it feels like there's a little comparison or competition. That's probably a good word going on between the two. So that's the vibe I get. But maybe you get something else. And I also like the inclusion of the Statue of Liberty here. Now, the third iteration we've seen of it. Of course, in Planes, it's a pity. In the Storyteller's book, it's a Model T like Lizzie. And here, it's just like the regular human version. Now, I wouldn't put much stock in any of the little icons they have right here because I don't think Pixar and Disney contributed to them. It's just the maker of the magazine. And so they just cropped in some nice clip art of palm trees, cones, and the Statue of Liberty. So I wouldn't, for one, think that's how it looks in the Cars universe. And for two, I wouldn't even think that it takes place in New York or we'll even see the Statue of Liberty, because it looks like the wedding, if it's in New York, it would be in upstate New York because it looks very like it's on a massive estate, right? So maybe I could be wrong. Maybe they pass through New York City, which would be pretty cool, but we'll have to see. Now, the final line here hints at there being a lot of potential for a season 2 or just more adventures in general, which I was thinking, like, this Cars on the Road, this is not the last we'll see of Mater and McQueen. I kind of knew that from the start because of how small this series ended up being. It's not like a actual committed TV show. It's a series of shorts rather. And so I don't think this will be the end in any way, shape, or form of McQueen and Mater, which I'm happy about because while this may satiate my hunger for the time being, it won't permanently. I'll still want more because I just love this stuff so much. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Who do you think is going to appear again? Who are the cameo characters? Who's coming to save them in the Badlands? Who's going to appear in the Salt Flats? Those are the ones that they allude to here. Hopefully there's one or two more. And yeah, I'm just super excited for the show. Hopefully I can get a couple more videos on the Cars on the Road stuff out before it premieres. I might even do a live stream this upcoming Sunday. So yeah, guys, I'll see you soon for another video. Bye now. Oh, gotta submit the sexiness in here somewhere. We all know that. Sexy magazine review complete.